Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make an article on consumerrights.wiki. Consumerrights.wiki is an encyclopedic database curated by the community and by you of every time a company has taken part in an anti-ownership, anti-consumer practice. This website exists because both governmental agencies and traditional consumer protection outlets, in my opinion, are not doing their job. They're not covering the erosion of ownership. Whether we're talking about applications for your phone that spy on how you drive and report that information back to your insurance company and car manufacturer without your consent, thermostats that you buy that advertise they have certain features that they then try to hide behind a paywall later sneakily, or televisions that cost over $3,000 that sell your personal data by default. I'm going to show you how to create an article by using a fictional example. We're going to pretend for a moment that this fictional example is real, and we're going to use it as the basis to create an article. The first thing you want to do when you go to create an article on the wiki is figure out if it fits our inclusion standards. What is includable on the wiki and what is not. The three most important standards is that a claim must be easily verifiable, it must include at least one verifiable source, and it must be a systemic issue. When we say a verifiable issue, we need proof that this is something that actually occurred. At the very least, it has to be something from an authoritative source. And when we say that it must be systemic, we mean that it must be something that is not just your opinion. It cannot be a Yelp review. It can't be, I tried drinking natural Texas spring water, and it just didn't taste very good. And when I said that it didn't taste very good, they were mean to me on the phone. That's a Yelp review. To say that this Qtelix 5K advertised hi-fi audio, but when I hook it up to my Sennheiser 650s, it doesn't have as much bass as my Marantz receiver. That is a Yelp review. It is not a systemic issue. And more importantly, neither of these issues have anything to do with the concept of erosion of ownership in modern day society. What would be is something like my MacBook has code on it that every single time a certain picture shows up on the screen, it kills itself, and it just so happens to occur one day outside of warranty, and we can prove it because we have the source code. So we're going to work with a fictional article, and I'm going to walk you through how to create an article for this. This picture is called The Hands Resist Him, and we're going to go over a tale that every time this shows up on an Apple MacBook, it kills the MacBook, and that Apple programmed their MacBooks to have this picture show up 366 days after purchase, which is one day outside the warranty. So let's say we want to include this type of article in the wiki. The first thing that we do is we'd search for it. We go Apple MacBook bricked by painting. Doesn't show up. So we're going to click Create New Article. Now there are 5 different types of articles you can create. A company article on a company, a product line on a product line, a specific product article about a specific product, a theme, such as a specific type of way that companies screw you nowadays, or an incident, a specific type of thing that has occurred. What has occurred here is an incident, so we're going to go over that. Give your incident article a title. We're going to say, Apple bricks MacBooks after displaying hands resist him painting. And create a new page. Now, once you go to this page, you have this template. And the template is going to be here to make it easier for you if you've never written an article. The first thing we're going to want in our article is going to be a short summary of what went on. The reason we want this summary to be short, about 2 to 3 sentences, ideally the length of an original tweet, back when tweets were about 140 characters. The reason we want the description to be short is because we're creating a browser extension that will give you a warning if you're on a website that sells a product that's included in the wiki. So if you're on LG's website about to buy a television that spies on you, it might say, warning, sells personal data by default, must turn off option. We want that to be viewable immediately so that the user doesn't just see a bunch of dots and a preview. They're going to see a very short snippet of the article, and that short snippet should be something that within one sentence gives them an idea of what's going on. So let's insert that right here. We're going to take a short summary of the incident. It says, add your text below this box. So we are going to click backspace to delete, like it says, and I'm going to put my short description, which is as follows. Next up is going to be the background of the issue. I'm going to put the background over here, which is going to be a description of some context that gives you an idea of what was going on. Now, you have 2 different types of editors here. You have the visual editor, which is pretty and has this nice toolbar, and you have the source code editor. The source code editor is for more advanced users. This is something that you may be familiar with if you've ever used HTML or Markdown or a programming language to write something for a website. It's a little bit more difficult to understand, but once you become an advanced user, you may want to use this. I'm going to remove backgrounds, and I'm going to place what I posted for my backgrounds. Next up, you're going to see incident. The incident is going to be what actually occurred. It's supposed to be an impartial and complete description of the event, including the action taken by the company. I'm going to include my incident portion over here, and I'm going to remove what is posted as a template. Next up, you have lawsuit, claims, rebuttal, outcome. There has been no lawsuit here, so I'm just going to delete that. You have consumer response, and then your references. So I'm going to post the consumer response section. Now I'm going to switch back by clicking the edit button to the visual editor so I can see what my article looks like. And I'm going to fix any of the issues that show up obviously. So the company hasn't responded in the case of mine. I'm going to delete that and just make it look nice by getting rid of empty space. Now, the first thing that you may notice here is that our sources are mostly a Reddit forum. And the only source for this issue is an article from Vice on the painting, but that doesn't go over our particular issue. This does need to have sources, so we're going to need to find some source. Let's find one source. Here we go. Rossman Repair Group, Inc. Hands resist him breaks every Apple laptop in our store. This painting appeared on every MacBook in our store, and then they all died. That's science. So we're going to go back over here, and we're going to add a source. And say, Rossman Repair Group has said that a prominent MacBook repair business, this image has broken every MacBook in their store. Now, in order to create that nice little source link that you see over here, where there's a number that leads to a URL, you're going to hit Shift Control K. And when you hit that, it'll say Add a Citation. I'm going to click Automatic and see if it'll find my source. I'll click Create. That doesn't work because I don't know. We're going to click Manual, Website, and I'm going to put my name. So Rossman Lewis, since I wrote that article, 2025-07-09 is the date that this was written. You can see that in the post over here. The URL I'm going to post, and then the title of the article is Hands Resist and Breaks Every Laptop in Our Store. Insert. Now we need to see if there's anybody else who's reported on this, because I'm just the blog at the end of the day. Let's see if a real paper reported on it, like the Numshin Times. There we go. This looks like an old version of the New York Times right here. Apple deliberately bricking laptops, displaying hands resist him, sources confirm. Internal documents, whistleblower testimony reveals systemic anti-ownership sabotage. Multiple independent sources, including whistleblower testimony from a former Apple engineer and analysis by the EFF, confirm the existence of the sabotage mechanism. According to leaked internal memos, the initiative codenamed Project Canvas Reset was designed to accelerate upgrade cycles by bricking laptops that display high-contrast, complex images identified as non-essential content with hand resist him used internally as a known trigger case. This is the most blatant form of forced obsolescence we've ever seen, said fake Corey Doctorow, a special advisor to EFF, who reviewed the firmware and code snippets provided. So we're going to take the article link. We have the name of the author, Emily Chen, New York Times, July 9th, 2025, and the title of it. The New York Times reported on the firmware code that caused the bricking and reported on whistleblower testimony confirming this was done intentionally by Apple to kill MacBooks. And then I hit Shift Control K. We're going to use a news. I'm going to click news. So author name, that was Chen Emily, who my fake person, 2025-07-09. The title of my fake article, which is real in this case, of course. And then the URL of it, which is, index.html on my computer, which is totally believable. And we can even add a picture if we like. I go Insert, Images and Media. Okay, I'm uploading it. Hands resist and painting. This is the image that kills MacBooks when shown on screen. We insert it. Painting. Hands resist him. And alternative text for those who are visibly not disabled. And then we click Save Page. Once you click Save Page, we're going to say Created Article. Now, let's say that you think that your article is not good enough to be included in the wiki, and you have your doubts because some people think my article is just not good enough. It's still useful for inclusion in the wiki if you include a stub notice. Take, for instance, the Netflix stream controversy article. This is a beautiful article that goes over all the different ways that Netflix advertises 4K, but then hides buried in their terms of service that you may not get 4K. It also goes over the technical requirements for you to get 4K when paying for their 4K plan, the requirements that Netflix does disclose, and the ones that Netflix does not disclose. And it goes over many, many items if you want to really dig deep into it. However, this article did not start out that way. This article started out as a paragraph and a half with not a lot of information on it. This is how that article started out. It started as a stub that was not fit for inclusion in the wiki. What is a stub notice? A stub notice is the notice that shows up on the top of the article that says that it's not fit for inclusion just yet, but can be fit for inclusion if the article is improved. Rather than simply deleting articles that have the ability to be built into something good, we'd like to give people the opportunity in the community to build that article into something good while simultaneously letting our readers know that this article is not quite up to our standards yet. So when you click Edit Source on the article, not normal edit, but edit source, you can add this to the top. You put 2 curly brackets, stub notice with a capital S and a capital N, and then you would save. And once you do that, the article will now have a stub notice added to the top of it that lets users know this article is not up to our editorial guidelines just yet, so you may want to be a little bit skeptical of it, but this allows people to then bring it up to our editorial guidelines. There's a link on the side of the site called Articles in Need of Work, and once you edit it, it is now going to be on there as Articles in Need of Work. When we scroll down, you'll see Apple Rick's MacBook after displaying hands-resistant painting because I can't type or spell. Another thing we should do is change the title of the article. This is how you create an article in consumerrights.wiki. Is the issue a systemic issue, not just a Yelp review? Does it cover the modern anti-ownership practices that I go over here on a regular basis? Do you have sources that you can verify that are real and genuine so that this is not just some random person's opinion that's not verified, but something that is verifiably true, or at the very least is held to a high standard? One of the best things about the internet is that if you say something wrong, somebody out there will hear you and want to correct you. Somewhere there is a person with too much time on their hands that has a degree in 5th century BC Nigerian literature or something that will realize that you typoed the name of an author, and he will hear that you did that and immediately run to Wikipedia and fix it. That's the way the internet works, and that's the only reason that this wiki is able to be held to the high standards that it is and has articles to the amazing standards that it does. If you are not sure if your article is perfectly fit for the wiki, you're welcome to have a conversation with us in the Discord, and you're welcome to post it with the stub notice and allow us to figure that out for ourselves. We will work to make your article as good as possible, and I hope that you'll work to make other people's articles as good as possible as well. Please do help me build this into an amazing resource, and if you have any questions on how to utilize this wiki, please do ask in the comments down below, and I'll direct staff to help answer your questions. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. Having all this information in a place where it's easily indexed, you can easily click through all the sources to verify from authoritative places exactly what's going on, is going to make it that much easier for lawmakers to decide that they want to work on this, as well as journalists report on it. The more journalists we have reporting on these issues, the more normal people will understand them. The more normal people understand them, the more we can push back against them. And journalists are more willing to do that type of job if we make the work easy for them. I know it sucks, but we got to do the work if we want to live in a world where ownership will exist. Do me a favor. Help me keep this channel as brand unsafe as humanly possible. If you can do that, I'll be a happy guy. I don't see other influencers doing the work because they don't want to be seen as brand unsafe. They don't want to lose out on sponsors as a result of having their name associated with something like that. I don't care. I enjoy it. I find it fun. Do me a favor. Help me keep this the most brand unsafe channel on YouTube for as long as humanly possible. And help me work to gain back ownership. I can't do it without your help. Without you, I'm nothing. With all of you working together, you can make some real cool stuff happen. Let's do it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.